Hello, collective. It's T here from Golden Thread Tarot, and I'm here to bring you another channeled message. I hope this message finds you blessed and full of abundance, okay? So, I really feel like somebody here is being encouraged to tell the truth. They're being encouraged to tell their story. Like, even if they feel like it's kind of like this energy of like this kind of like fake it energy, right? Putting on a happy face or pretending like things are okay, right? But really, when on the inside you're really crying, or really on the inside you feel very misled, or you feel very, yeah. It's kind of like this energy of like spirit calling you to express a part of yourself that has really remained hidden, you know. I do also feel like there is a mirroring energy here between you and a person. I don't feel like this is like a twin flame or anything like that situation. I do feel like this could be a person from your past. I'm hearing the name Cedric. Okay. Um, I feel like this could be a person from your past that is being guided to tell the truth. And there is a person here that really doesn't want you to speak your truth, because that would involve other people learning the truth about what type of person this person truly is. So there is this kind of energy of like, I put on a good face because I didn't want to embarrass my friends, or I didn't want to embarrass my family, or I didn't want to embarrass myself for being in a relationship with this person, or there's this kind of like shame energy that's tied into this. It's like, oh, will it bring shame onto my family name, or will it bring shame onto this person? Will it bring shame onto me? Will really speaking up and telling my truth make people look at me different? Will it make people look at me with that, oh sympathetic, you're broken, or you've been abused, or you've been used, or something like that? And there's some kind of fear here and shame tied to really honestly speaking the truth. There's also shame in the fact that you haven't spoke up and haven't told the truth. I also feel like you are also feeling some of this other person that is connected to the secret or connected to this truth. I feel like that you are also feeling their shame. They don't want to feel their shame, so they want to project that shame onto you. So I definitely feel like there is a person here who feels like I don't want other people to know the truth. I don't want other people to know how I treated you, or that I told, for some of you this could be about a friend or a family member or somebody that told a lie or kind of like victimized themselves in a situation from the past. Okay, but there is this energy here of someone being someone being very urged to really speak up, right? And this definitely has to do with a relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It's just kind of some kind of connection that you and a person had. But there is this kind of energy here of this person feels like they'll do whatever they have to do to stop the truth from coming out, or to stop. This could also be their ego, It's like, oh, if I have to abuse you, or if I have to threaten you, or if I have to make you feel shame, or do I have to make you feel abused, or do I have to make you feel this way so that you don't tell the truth? Because I don't want to look at the truth of who I am, right? Because your truth expresses the person that I truly am, right? Your truth and of the situation, your version of the events, or your version of the situation actually exposes a part of me that I don't want to be exposed. Like, I don't want people to know that I will do this, or that I will see this, or I don't want people to view me in this way. Well, the easiest way, okay, to do that is to not behave that way, right? So that's kind of, okay, father. For some of you, this could be your father. I did also see um, the Emperor card stood out to me. It was here behind the Magician and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. So this person is actually subconsciously or consciously manifesting your truth. Like, it's like this kind of silence energy. Like, this person could honestly be doing some kind of energy work without consciously knowing they're doing energy work. Like, even like subconsciously being like, I reject the truth that this person knows about me. So it's like just they want to reject that truth so bad that you're actually emotionally picking up on the fact, and it might make you feel like, well, it might make you doubt your truth. It might make you feel kind of crazy. It's like, well, what am I being dramatic? Is that really what happened? Is that really the truth of the situation? Like, maybe, when they tell me that I'm being dramatic, maybe they were telling the truth. Like, will other people believe me? Because I've carried on this lie of who this person is for so long, or for such a long time. It's like, well, say this is like, say that you were in an abusive relationship and you hid how abusive this relationship was. It's like, will people be like, well, why did you stay in it for so long? If this person, like, what do you mean? Like, you have already been out of this relationship and now you want to talk about all the abuse that this person did? Like, when you were in the relationship, you didn't say anything, you hid it very well. Or now that, it's like, but even when you broke up, maybe you weren't so honest about the abuse that you endured. And it's because you're scared that people will have this thought process. You are scared that people will be like, well, why did you say? Well, why didn't you speak up? Well, why did you say anything? Well, why did you stay so silent for so long? Like, if this is true, because the truth is this person has gone around controlling the narrative. um this definitely reminds me of, I'm not saying that this person is a narcissist or anything like that, but I do think um that they have this kind of very like selfish or like self-centered trait of being like, of kind of being like, I want to go behind you and control the narrative. So I'll get in front of you. So I'll teach you to silence yourself, to doubt yourself, and to not really spread around the truth, your truth of what would really happened. And while you're being silent and you're processing or emotionally processing what happened, I'm going to go around and create the narrative, right? So it does give me this energy that this person goes behind your back and like really retells the narrative. But Spirit is really encouraging you to take back your power in the sense of just standing up and telling your truth, just standing up and being like, no, and for some of you, it's more about showing than telling. It's just about standing up, and the way you walk through life, the way that you handle yourself, the way that you show up for yourself, the way that you care for yourself, making it very obvious that this person is lying about how incapable or how stupid or how whatever lie that it was that they told about you, right? Yeah, hello, bully. This person has a problem, right? And they have a problem with describing like a reality that is really not true to who you really are, right? And they maybe even made you believe this, especially if this is like a family member or a long-term friend or something like that. Yeah. So Spirit is really encouraging you to block this person out of your life, to block this energy like this. Okay. Um, also feel like there's some kind of energy here of, yes, look at this with the Don Juan and the femme fatale. For some of you, I feel like this is about the fact that somebody like gaslit, love bombed, future faked. So anyway, their way into your life, and that they lied about who it was, and then they told a falsity about who they really are. I feel like a lot of people don't see this person for who they really are. But I also feel like there is this energy within you, right? There is this Don Juan, femme fatale, or goddess, or nurturer, energy, networker energy, scribe energy, that you hide. There is all this beauty, and there is all this power, and there is all this like charisma and romanticism and nurturing, and like you might be the type of person that has been convinced like, "Ugh, I hate people, I really don't like people," but just because you've been around some very like toxic or negative or abusive people, when really actually you're a really good communicator. You've been taught to silence yourself, when the truth is you have a voice, and it's actually really powerful, and your stance is really powerful, and your story is really powerful, you know but there have been a lot of people in your life, I feel like, who have made you feel like, who have kind of like made you feel like that part of you is not true, or it's fake. Maybe that person tried to make you feel like, oh, you're not as smart as you think you are. You're not as beautiful as you think you are. You're not as this as you think you are. You're not as happy as you think you are. You're not as, you're not as talented as you think you are. Like, I don't know why you think you're all that, or you can do that, or you can create that, because you're really not that person. You're not as beautiful or talented, or you're not as blah, 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 whatever. But how my camera keeps like struggling to focus, I feel like that's what that person's point of the matter is the fact that they were trying to make you lose focus. Exactly. So you actually have this really young, like really innocent kind of energy. And I feel like also too, some of you could feel like you wish you could take back some of the things that happened to you, or some of the ways that you were manipulated, because you wish that you could have this kind of symbolic, purity of heart and soul. Like, you wish that you could kind of recapture that feeling amongst yourself. It's like, wow, I wish I could go back and tell myself, don't get into that relationship. Don't listen to your parents, or don't listen to that person. They're using you. They're abusing you. They're cutting you down. They're a narcissist, or they're actually an abuser. They're a psychopath. They have their own problems. They're broken, or they have their own issues, and they want you to mirror that within them. They're trying to trauma bond to you. They're trying to do this. So if you've had those moments here recently when you're going through your shadow work, that you're like, I really wish that I could go back and I could really recapture, before I was in that relationship, how innocently I actually felt about my life and about me and about my talents and about my position, or about the world. Like, wow, I used to have such a positive view on the world, that the world really was having my back, and it was really and I had my whole future ahead of me, and I really trusted people, or I trusted my friends, or I trusted my family, or something like that. And then you've gone through these tower moments that have really made you realize there's been a lot of like stuff, that has made you feel like you can't be this person anymore, right? And it might have even made you feel naive to have ever been this person. But spirit is working with you really strong. With some of you with these hearts, I'm really getting really strong, like the spirit of like Aphrodite, especially with that goddess energy that was there that keeps showing itself, right? Yeah. So I definitely feel like there's this healing energy around you, okay, that really wants to manifest itself into your life. All right. And it's this kind of energy that I feel like you're manifesting into your life. There's this pathway here of you kind of recapturing this, but not feeling so much like, oh, if I recapture this, if I really put myself out there again, then I'll be opening myself up to be in the same like foolish position, right? Like, can I step into this full energy and really start over, start my energy over, or go back to this place? It's like, you can't go back, but you can learn to forgive yourself. Most importantly, you can learn to say, okay, well, I don't have to make me want to shut down, or make me want to not put myself out there or believe in myself. There is this energy inside of you that really wants to rebel against this, that wants to rebel against all this I just want to say bullshit, right? That's been poured into your mind, all this like self doubt and like self hatred, or whatever it is that you're really struggling with. I think that you really want to affect this like really deep spiritual and emotional change within yourself. Um, and I think that you want to reject spiritual systems that do not serve your inner needs, right? Like, I really feel like you really want to rebel against this, like, it kind of seems like this really deep psychological meaning of like, I have to be like this, or look like this, or act like this to receive love. At its base, whatever the details are, that's what it feels like. It feels like there is a deep part of you that's like, rebel against that, because there's nothing wrong with being this innocent person. There's nothing wrong with having love and wanting to show yourself and the world love and wanting to embody that energy. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a soft person. And I really feel like you have had a lot of people in your life, or a lot of experiences in your life, that have made you feel like you were stupid for being a soft person, or that you were dumb, or like, oh, you put yourself in that situation because you were so soft, you know? And there can be a portion of shadow work that we can have a reaction to in the process of realizing that we manifest our own realities, that we're creating our own experiences, that we're choosing our own experiences. That it could be like, oh, well, I'm creating this experience to harden me up, to toughen me up, to give me a tough skin. And that means that being this innocence, or having this, like, is a weakness. And there's an energy here around you that wants to remind you that being soft, that being sweet, that being innocent is not a weakness. That it is unfortunate that other people have wanted to take care of you, but if you are genuinely at your heart this soft, sweet, innocent person, like, allow yourself to be that person. um I'm hearing that for some of you, I literally hear, that for some of you this is really triggering, because it's like, it's almost like this energy of like, I'm not allowed to be that. Like, I'm not allowed to be soft because the world is a hard place. Like, I'm not allowed to believe in people, or believe in things, believe in magic. I need to grow up. I need to get over it. I need to start being more seriously, and taking life, and taking my career, and taking things more seriously. There's like this really deep, like, part of like your inner child, or your inner self, that just really, really, really wants you to heal this thought process that you got hurt because you were sweet and because you were innocent. That's not your fault. It's not your fault that somebody saw that inside of you and decided that they wanted to take advantage of it. That's not your fault, and it doesn't make it a fault in your character and your personality that you do want to be able to trust people and you do want to be able to open up your heart. And the truth of the matter is, Spirit is saying that those people, not to make excuses for them because it's not an excuse, but those people at some point in their life were taught that being that person, that innocence was taken away from them. And instead of working on themselves or doing the brave thing, and actually helping other people to feel safe or creating safe space for other people to be that innocent person, they felt like they were helping other people by taking away that innocence from them, because the world is a really hard, cruel place and innocence gets snuffed out. And if you want to be a stronger person, if you want to be a smarter person, you can't be this innocent person. And even though it is a very like fucked up mentality, that's the mentality that person had. So this really could be a parent or a caregiver or somebody that was like, look, the world is a tough place, so I'm going to be tough on you so that you can be a tough person, when the truth is, Spirit was saying that you were actually put here to rediscover. You were put here and you went through this experience, but Spirit is telling you it is a huge part of your journey to rediscover your softness, to rediscover your innocence, and to not feel like wanting to be that person makes you weak. To not let those experiences that other people wanted to put you through to make you shut down your heart space. Come on now, child divine. Okay? Innocence, purity, and redemption suggest a special connection to the divine. Come on now. And I'm here to hold space for you and tell you that you are still a beautiful, loving person despite the things that happened to you in your past. And that you can continue to be that person. That you don't, because you were in a spot, you don't have to have been young when this happened to you, but you were in a spot of vulnerability and somebody came in and took advantage of that vulnerability. That doesn't mean that vulnerability is a bad thing. But being unaware that when you are vulnerable, that some people will try to take advantage of that is a lesson that you need to learn. But that doesn't mean shut down, don't be vulnerable at all. It just means be discerning about the people and the places and the times that you are vulnerable. And priest facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. And I'm hearing, what is the name of that card? It's in the Lightworker, the Lightworker Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell. And I'm hearing the part of it, which is not like the main thing that the part is called, but it's what it says underneath. It says, make your life a living prayer. And that's the kind of energy that I'm getting with this. Like, make your life a living prayer. Like, understand that. Because I do feel like there's a part of you that feels abandoned or that feels unprotected by the divine. And Spirit, again, I understand that this could be something triggering if you're not ready to hear it, but Spirit is saying that just because you have gone through traumatic or you've gone through hurtful things doesn't mean that the divine doesn't care about you or doesn't love you or isn't there for you or isn't protecting you. And I know, and I'm not going to sit here and, and necessarily say that, well, like, your suffering was totally necessary, and it was totally necessary that you got to be, I'm not necessarily saying that. But there is this narrative that you've really been convincing yourself that it's kind of like this rationalization, like it's almost like this deep subconscious rationalization that you feel like, perhaps maybe you feel like, hey babies, you feel like you deserved to get hurt because you were being naive, or because you were innocent, or because you were, you know, fooling yourself. It's kind of this like this self victim blaming subconsciously that you're doing to yourself, like very deeply subconsciously, that your ego is trying to do to protect yourself, right? Your ego is saying that to you because the ego is about keeping your physical vessel alive. It doesn't mean that it's keeping it alive in the best and most emotionally or mentally viable or mentally healthy ways. It's just about doing whatever you have to do to keep this physical vessel alive, to keep it functioning, to keep it going forward, and to keep you living. And our ego can understand when we are going through something that might hurt us too deeply, or that processing something or believing something, it's like, oh, it's easier, somewhere in my mind it was easier to believe that I deserved to be abused, or I deserved to be that person, or I deserve to be treated that way, um because maybe I really am that person. My parent or my spouse or that person, they weren't abusing me. They were just showing me the truth of who I really am. And that is your ego trying to save you emotionally from deep diving into the point that no, you were being abused. Like, no. And yes, on the surface, you can go, of course, I know I was being abused. Of course, I don't really think. But somewhere deep inside, your ego thought it was safer, to think, it helped you to get through. No, my mom or my dad, they really did love me, even though they abused me, or even though they did this, they really loved me. And maybe they just did that because they were trying to make me better, or they were trying to improve me, or they were trying to just point out a character flaw that I needed to get rid of. They were just trying to show me that my innocence actually leaves me in a vulnerable state, and actually leaves me in a state of being opened up to. So they were just trying to prove to me that being innocent just doesn't serve me and doesn't help me. Somewhere deep, 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 deep down inside, there is some part of you that tried to save yourself by telling yourself that. Because somehow it was protecting you. Somehow it helped you to get through it. Somehow it helped you to persevere through by thinking that way. And in that moment, we can say, in our journey, Spirit urges us to get to the point where we can see that, and urges us to get to the point where we're not like, that's why so many people are like, you need to kill your ego. You need to get rid of it. It's not serving you. But the truth of the matter is, it helped you survive back then. It helped you get through it without having a complete and utter absolute, all the way down, unalive kind of thing, right? Because you're still here. And so I think that's when people start having that awakening, and they're realizing like, wow, my ego's not serving me now. Yeah, it's not serving you now because you're not in that danger now, you know? But it can be hard to go through the motions of realizing, of getting your mind out of survival brain, right? Getting your mind out of that, because your ego has been like, well, this is what's helped us survive. Thinking this way is what's helped you got through. I've got you through to the point where you are now. And it's like, but yeah, but I'm all fucking psychologically fucked up, right? And I have, toxic relationships, or I have a toxic work environment, or I have a toxic home environment, because I convinced myself somewhere deep inside that it was okay that this was happening to me, because it's what helped me get through. But that's where actually becoming aware and actually putting in that work into yourself to say like, no, actually it's not serving me anymore to feel this way about myself. It's not keeping me safe anymore. It's actually hurting me. But your ego doesn't like things to change, because it's like, once it knows, it's like, oh, this is the quickest, easiest way, is just to lie to yourself. That's the quickest, easiest way, is just to lie to yourself. It requires the least amount of actual physical, like, energy, right? Because our bodies and our brains and our egos, which are tied to those things, are literally about basic survival. Like, just get through it. It's the same ego response to why, if an animal is trapped in a trap, it will gnaw off its own leg to live, because it's like, well, this is gonna hurt and this is gonna suck and it's gonna impair me for the rest of my life, but if I don't do it, I'm gonna die right now. I need to live. And so that's kind of what that is. Our brains shut us down. It disassociates. It takes us to another place. It compartmentalizes. It says, it explains away. It says, oh no, maybe on some deep level, you're telling yourself, maybe I deserved it, or maybe, they were trying to help me out, or maybe, and although it might not make sense now to your adult brain, or it might not have made sense now to your brain that's not, now that you're not, like, actually in that abusive situation, back then, under that incredible amount of, like, stress, physical and mental stress that you were on, it made sense in that moment, because it was what was going to help you make it through. But when we are on the spiritual journey of awakening and coming to the realization and working psychologically through all of these problems, we have to find a place inside of ourselves where we can say, one, we can become aware of it, and two, we can really start facing it and start moving on from it and start, learning how to know that it's actually not a safe space to be in anymore. That it's actually hindering you more than it's helping you. That it's hindering your mental development. And that in the long run, that doesn't actually help your physical survival. But the brain will do all kind of cartwheels and justifications and all kind of things in the moment. And then those things get buried so deep inside of us. And then we walk forward into the future not knowing that all of these really, really deep subconscious buried feelings of, this is how I survive, this is how I make it through. And that can manifest in a myriad of ways as we get older. It can manifest in self-sabotage, self-preservation, like abusing other people, and it can manifest in a lot of other different ways later on in our life, right? But underneath it all is this feeling here that this happened to me because I was weak, and so I need to be strong. And having this vulnerability and being this person doesn't allow me to be strong. Damn. I didn't know it was going to get this deep, you guys. Avenger. Desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. So absolutely. So your higher self is coming in saying, baby doll, and spirit is coming in saying, baby doll. Okay. We are coming in to try to change this, right? See this person that they have like kind of like their cloak is made of like the world. So it's this energy here, or like a map, right? And it's this energy here of you needing to move on from this place and being able to move on and to close this chapter of yourself, to seek this type of balance. This might even be manifesting in like different types of like anger or lashing out or being really sad or depression or things like it. Spirit is saying like it's really that there is a part of yourself deep inside that is saying like, hey, this is not your true authentic self. Your true authentic self is this innocent, kind, sweet person, but you were taught to turn away from that person and to be ashamed. See how she has her arms crossed across her, like she's ashamed of being that person. Because in your thought process, it's like, oh, well, I must have deserved what happened to me. Because I was weak, because I was innocent, because I didn't know any better, because I was a fool, because blah, 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 because I believed their lives, or whatever it is you've been telling yourself, right? The mother energy is coming out here in Queen. So there is this energy here of stepping in. So there is this like really beautiful, deep, like nurturing, mothering energy. Okay, that's coming forward. You know, the spirit of the universe, or if you work with certain like mothering or feminine energy, like goddesses or gods. You know, they're coming forward to help you, right? And they're coming forward to say with this dilettante, okay, they're coming forward to say like it's okay that you are a multifaceted person. It's okay. Okay. Delights in the art without having to be a professional, alerts you to the dangers of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Yeah, so Spirit is saying that you have actually been pursuing this artificial version of yourself when at your core things have not felt right, and you felt this need to stand up for yourself or to balance this out, because there is this need here to acknowledge that it's not your fault, that it wasn't your fault at the end of the day, that this other person chose to do that to you, regardless of what position you might have put yourself in, right? Air quotes, put yourself in, due to whatever it is that their ego is telling you. Or maybe even this person. Like for some of you, it could be society, it could be this person, it could be your friends, it could be your family. There could literally, it could be this person literally gaslighting you to tell you like, no, like, you know, like I said, like you were young, you were dumb, like it was totally, you know, like what was I supposed to do? Not take advantage of you? Like, that's exactly. Yeah. Okay, so there is some kind of like damsel energy here tied into this like father energy here, or this masculine energy. There could be a want. Oh, look at this warrior vampire father. So there could be this energy here of being like, you know, like, no, I need to fight. I need to be strong. I need to be in my masculine energy. So I'm never this damsel waiting for somebody to actually come and save me. So I'm never this virgin again. So I'm never this young, innocent, vulnerable person so that nobody can ever take advantage of me. No, I'm strong. I'm a warrior. Like I'm a fighter. Like no one can ever take that power away from me again. And Spirit is saying that not to say that you're not finding some kind of empowerment in that, but to say that there are some of you who are stepping into this warrior energy very purposely to like unalive, to end this part of you that feels like you were a damsel, like you were waiting for somebody to come and save you, like that makes you feel weak. For some of you, this could mean this could manifest in like being like really anti like getting help from, you know, it's really hard for you to ask for people to help you, it's really hard for you to trust people, you know, it's really hard for you to trust outside people or to trust authority figures or to trust those other people, because those have been the people in your past that have really put a lot of trust issues in you. And it's like, well, I can't, you know, no, I have to be this warrior. I have to be strong. I have to believe in this narrative that I'm supposed to fight, fight, fight. It's spiritual warfare and I'm a warrior of God, you know? And Spirit's like, is that just another coping mechanism? Is it another coping mechanism to just make you feel like you never have to be vulnerable or weak again? Because you see being vulnerable, because you see being having weakness as a bad thing, when really the truth is like we all have weaknesses, we all have negative things, we all have, you know, we all have things about us that are positive and negative, like all of us do. And it doesn't make you less of a good person, it doesn't make you less of a spiritual person, it doesn't make you less of you know, like a good girl or a good boy to have been taken advantage of in the past, or to have had weakness in the past, or to still have weakness inside of you now. Like you don't have to say like, you know, you don't have to make an excuse and say like, oh no, doing this doesn't mean that I'm weak. So what? So what if you are weak? So what? Personally, me, like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't feel like it doesn't feel triggering, but I'm like, what, Spirit? Like, I don't know. Maybe it just goes such against like all of our normalized like cultural paradigms that like having weaknesses or having negative traits like is a really like is really perceived as a negative and bad thing, right? Like really calling it that, right? Like just being like, oh, excuse me. Like, yeah, it's kind of this energy around like, so what? So what? You made a mistake. So what? You lashed out in anger. So what? Now this doesn't mean, oh, so what? So do it again. That doesn't mean that, But it's like some of you are not acknowledging these deeper shadow parts of yourself because you are labeling them as parts of yourself you would rather not acknowledge, or you would rather not exist, when it is 100%, it is just as much a part of who you are. It is just as much a part of being a human and having a human experience, to have these experience, as it is to be considered strong and beautiful and award. It's excuse me, it's just the opposite sides of the coins, and there's opposites in everything. There's opposite energy in everything. And this is actually this energy is actually coming up as this vampire energy that's actually draining you. It's actually draining you to fight against the authenticity of who you really are. Hmm. This reminds me of a conversation, of like a really deep conversation when I had with a friend, excuse me, um, earlier, or last week actually. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Oh, yeah. This is this healing energy, right? And you see where this healer is healing, right? The mind. And it's like, they're like transmuting through their hands, like all this like negative, kind of just like bam, bam energy. Passion to serve others by repairing the mind, body, and soul. Or, sorry, mind, body, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain into healing. And for some of you, this might have been manifesting as like not taking care of yourself, taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for oneself. So there could be this energy of it's like self-care on like an actual real deep level. Yeah. It's kind of like self-care isn't always like doing masks and going on vacations and laying by the pool and doing things that make you laugh. Like, sometimes a part of really deep self-care, really showing up for yourself, is having these really deep one-on-one conversations with yourself and not running away from the truth. It's the deepest form of self-care that you can really do. Not that doing all of those other things are not important. They are. They're equally just as important. Confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. Awakens the spiritual authority of humanity, compassion, and self-esteem. This is beggar energy. Okay, I'm being guided to read from the book, which I don't know if I've ever been guided to read from this book in a reading. Oh, wow. And I opened it up right on Healer, too. Huh. How is this? Oh. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. Beggar. Homeless person slash indigent. Sorry. No need to be starving for food to be considered a beggar. May beg for attention, love, authority, or material objects. Presents a symbolic test that compels you to confront self-empowerment. Wow. Shadow. Beggar manifests as chaotic dependence, lack of belief in your own abilities. Look for a lifelong pattern of learning about the nature of generosity, compassion, and self-esteem. Oh, wow. And then Avenger is right on the other side, too. Hmm. So there's this point here of one looking back and really being honest about lifelong patterns of like lifelong thought patterns that you know, lifelong patterns of learning, right? And exactly ask yourself, what kind of patterns were you taught about generosity? Was generosity was like, yeah, you can be generous if that person is generous with you first. Yeah, people give to you, but only if you show up for them in a certain way first, you know? It's this whole like conditional love thing, this conditional compassion. Compassion is given conditionally, you know? Generosity is giving conditionally. You're allowed to have self-esteem under certain conditions. And there's this kind of energy of you learning that you had to kind of like beg for these things or put yourself in a position of, I have to do something to deserve these things from other people and from the universe. I have to do this in order to receive generosity and abundance from the universe. I have to do this or show up in this way or give this to receive genuine compassion from other people. If I'm allowed to have self-esteem, to have a healthy sense of self-esteem, to have confidence, to have this, it has to be at the cost of this or that. Yeah, there's this energy here of you subconsciously being taught that like somebody was very, it was this very, yeah, it's that five of swords. I'm seeing the five of swords in my mind's eye. It's that very five of swords, like, if you shine, I can't shine. If you have self-esteem, I can't have self-esteem. If you think highly of yourself, I can't think highly of myself. Because if you think highly of yourself, it must be because you're putting me underneath you. So before you put yourself underneath me, I'm gonna put you underneath me. Wait, anyway, I'm gonna, instead of you, before you can do that to me, I'm gonna do it to you. So before, so it's this very, yeah, it's this very competitive energy of like, there's not enough love. Like there's not enough love to go around. Not unless you do something for me. Not unless you show up for me. Not unless you get good grades. Not unless you date the person I tell you want to. Not unless not unless you go clean your room, not unless you are the type of person and you marry the type of person and you do the type of thing that I approve of, then otherwise you're just being a waste. Oof. I'm so sorry if you had a person like literally tell you that. Like, you're not the person that I approve you to be, so you're a waste. Or like, you disappoint me as a child, or you disappoint me as a spouse, or you disappoint this company because you don't show up in this way. Because you're not a good fit here, because you're just not a part of the culture. It's like the culture's toxic. The fuck do I want to be a part of it? But it's like that response, that wasn't given to you. Hmm. And here I opened the page up to Gambler and God. And just how this card is laid out, how it's like it's like I'm gambling, I'm walking forward towards God. Like I'm walking forward, I'm taking a chance. Is more of that full energy. So the shadow self of the God card. Shadow God manifests as a dictator or uses physical attractiveness to get what he wants without returning love. Look for a lifelong sense of great power used either selfishly or selflessly. And the God card is coming out under the ultimate male dominance energy. Look, I don't even see this on the back of the deck. The slave card is here. So it's like this energy of this wounding that you know had happened to you here is actually been because this person is like on strings. So it's kind of this energy of like this wounding here actually controlling you on a deep subconscious level in a way that you haven't really recognized, or that you are beginning to recognize, but maybe perhaps you did not recognize like how deeply it affected you and how thoroughly it really defined you as a person. Wow. Yeah, and I opened right back up to that beggar card again. Mystic. So some of you might actually be struggling with believing in God, believing that the universe or God or source or whatever you want to call it, a higher power other than you is actually there, is actually showing up for you, will actually be there for you, that you actually have a connection to this person, this person, this energy, this thing, because you were taught so much that people that had authority, or people or things that had authority or had power over you, misused and abused you and took advantage of that. And having this openness with God, and this openness does require you to be very vulnerable. It does require you to be very open. And you're like, some of you really have this like fear that you're actually connecting to like tricksters, or like, that you're actually connecting, that you're actually, maybe some of you feel like, am I actually talking to God, or am I being delusional? Like, do I actually have like a connection to my spirit guides, or am I just making it all up? You know? Yeah. And some of you are really seeking this approval, right? Seeking this confirmation. You could even be overindulging in receiving this confirmation, needing spirit and God to prove to you over and over and over and over again that it's real, or that it's showing up, or that, you know, that they're here for you, that they're showing up for you, that it's okay, that they really do love you, and they want to protect you, and they want to disconnect you from things that, yeah, that don't serve you, child eternal. They're reminding you to recapture this innocence energy here. Determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit. Ability to see things with fresh eyes. And in the shadow energy of this, there's this extreme dependency on others for physical security. So there is this need to constantly look outside of yourself. So there is actually this codependent energy that for some of you, you are connecting to God or source or spirit, where it's like, it's kind of almost this energy like, I need you to prove that you're going to show up for me. I need you to prove that you're going to be there for me. I need you to prove constantly that you love me and that you care about me, that the signs that I'm getting are real, and that they're, you know, so it's like this energy here of like manifesting, like, is it really real? Is this really happening? Am I really connecting to something other that really has the best interest at heart for me? And spirit is saying that you have these fears and these doubts inside of you because of this that you went through in your past. And that the more you work through this, the more you will find a pure connection. When you really learn that it's okay that you connect to this purest form of yourself, to this truest, authentic part of yourself that is not afraid to be vulnerable and to open itself back up again, that is when that doubt in spirit, and that doubt because that connection will be reestablished within you, because you are struggling connecting with that truth, with the universal truth that God is there, that source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is there for you and is showing up for you and is protecting you, because you are rejecting that connection with your inner truth, with your inner authority that is constantly connected to God. And that when you do work on that connection, that your connection to understanding that will also get better. And in turn, your connection to yourself, to God, and to other people will also start to get much healthier. Wow. Well, no, yeah, that's it. Because I was like, this tarot is here. Like, should I pull tarot? And Spirit's like, nope, you're good. You're golden. That's it. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, that was really deep. That was a lot. I definitely feel that holding space energy, that kind of talking a lot about these really deep things. Um, so I feel like some of you just really need to talk about that. And so again, confirmation with goddess ending on the back. I definitely feel like um, there is this energy here of you like sabotaging yourself, okay, out of really believing and trusting, and for some of you this could be why you're struggling to allow your manifestations to come in, why you're struggling to allow relationships to really develop and connect and ground in, even though you really really want them. There is this kind of lack energy of, I trusted a person in the past and I was taught that trusting somebody or being open to somebody was stupid, was a weakness, and Spirit is saying that being open and being vulnerable is not a weakness, and to even at some point be able to go a step further and say that it's not bad necessarily to have weaknesses in a sense, or that it's totally part of human nature to have some things that people consider weak. We want to constantly have this whole like bravado and this whole like lie that we're weak and we're so smart and that we're not weak, that we're, that we can overcome anything by ourselves and we're that strong. And it's just like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that if you struggle sometimes. It's okay if you struggle to make the right decision sometimes. It's okay. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't still try to work on yourself and you still shouldn't try to get to yourself where you don't feel that. But there is this really deep part of accepting like your true authenticity, and your true authentic self has good and bad, has weaknesses, has strengths, like all of it. And that doesn't make you any less of a valuable person. you know your past and the things that you've gone through and the things that you feel like have hurt you do not make you less valuable as a person, and they don't make you any less of a person. All right. I really hope that helped some of you. I really hoped that gave you the love, light, or clarity that you needed in your situation. Thank you guys so much for giving me your time, for being here. Like the content if you liked it. Let me know if you feel comfortable, as always. Let me know if it resonated for you in the comment section down below. Thank you to those who do. Thank you to those who donate, or to anyone who reaches out to me to get a personal reading, which I do offer. My contact information is listed down below. Okay. Thank you guys so very much, as always, for showing up, for being here, for showing up for yourself. Okay. Um, Thank you to your spirit guides for guiding you here to get this information. Thank you to my spirit guides, as always, for helping me to deliver this information, as well as keeping me safe while I did so. I really appreciate you guys. I really hope this helped you out. I know some of the information I talked about could be really triggering, but I hope that at some point you're ready to hear it, or, if it's just not right for you, I hope that you know that it's not right for you and you don't let it take away from you, okay? So thank you guys so much, okay? And I will see you lovelies in the next one, all right? Bye.